Captain Hansol stood on the bridge of the starship New Horizon and watched Earth grow smaller through the massive window. The blue planet looked peaceful from this distance, but he knew the truth. Down there, cities were running out of clean water. Farms could barely grow enough food. The air in many places was too dirty to breathe without masks. "Captain, we are now beyond Earth's gravity well," said Navigator Dongwu from his control station. His voice was calm, but Hansol could hear the excitement underneath. They were really doing this. They were leaving everything behind to find a new home among the stars. Hansol looked around the bridge at his crew. These were the best people Earth could offer. Chief Engineer Boram sat at her station, checking the ship's systems for the 100th time that day. She had designed most of the equipment they would use to build their new colony. Her dark eyes were focused and determined. "All systems running perfectly, Captain," Boram reported. "The terraforming equipment is secure and ready for deployment." Hansol nodded. The terraforming equipment was their most important cargo. Without it, they would never be able to make their new world livable. But Boram's designs were different from anything other species used. While aliens only tried to make planets exactly like their homeworlds, Boram had created machines that could work with hostile environments instead of fighting against them. "Captain," called Communications Officer Yeon Su from her station, "we are receiving a transmission from the Galactic Council observation post." Hansol was not surprised. The aliens had been watching human space activities for months now. They seemed very interested in where humans were planning to go. "Put it through." The main screen flickered and showed the face of Ambassador Kethmar from the Crystalline Assembly. The alien's face was made of what looked like living glass, and its voice sounded like wind chimes when it spoke. "Captain Hansol of the human vessel," the alien said. "The Galactic Council wishes to confirm your destination. Our records show you are heading toward Kepler 442c. This world has been classified as uninhabitable. Surely there has been some mistake in your navigation." Hansol smiled. "No mistake, Ambassador. Kepler 4422c is exactly where we want to go." The alien's crystalline features showed confusion. "Captain, perhaps you do not understand. This world has surface temperatures that reach 200 degrees during the day and fall to -150 at night. The atmosphere contains dangerous gases. No known species could survive there." "Then it sounds perfect for us," Hansol replied calmly. The alien stared at him for several seconds. Finally, it spoke again. "The Council will be monitoring your progress with great interest." The transmission ended. Navigator Dongwu chuckled quietly. "I think we confused him." "Good," said Hansol. "Let them be confused. We have work to do." The journey to Kepler 442c took 3 weeks. During that time, Hansol watched his crew prepare for the challenge ahead. They were not like other species. While aliens spent centuries planning perfect colonies on perfect worlds, humans were ready to make any world work. Dr. Sujin spent her days studying the planet's data and designing new survival strategies. She was young for a chief scientist, but her ideas were brilliant and sometimes crazy. That made her perfect for this mission. "Captain," Dr. Sujin said during one of their daily meetings, "I have been thinking about the temperature problem. Most species would try to build heating and cooling systems to fight against the extreme temperatures. But what if we use those temperatures instead?" "What do you mean?" Hansol asked. "The huge difference between day and night temperatures could generate massive amounts of energy. We could build our colony underground and use geothermal power during the day and stored heat energy at night. Instead of fighting the planet, we work with it." Boram looked up from her equipment designs. "That could actually work. My terraforming machines could dig deep colonies instead of trying to change the surface atmosphere." Security Chief Taiho had been quiet during the meeting, but now he spoke. "What about defense? If we are underground, we need to make sure we can protect ourselves. The harsh surface conditions will be our best defense," Hansol said. "No enemy will expect us to be living comfortably in a place they think is impossible to survive." As they got closer to their destination, the crew received more communications from alien observers. Ships from different species were following them at a safe distance, watching to see what the humans would do. "Captain," Yan-Su reported, "I am picking up gambling transmissions between the observer ships. They are betting on how long we will survive on the planet's surface." "What are the odds?" Han Sol asked with amusement. "Most bets are for less than 1 week. A few optimistic ones give us a month." Han Sol laughed. "Well, let's make sure we don't disappoint them." When Kepler 440c finally appeared on their screens, it looked exactly as hostile as the data had promised. The planet's surface was a nightmare of burning deserts and frozen wastelands, depending on which side faced the sun. Violent storms raged across the landscape, and the atmosphere glowed with dangerous radiation. "It's beautiful," Boram said, quietly. The rest of the crew looked at her in surprise. "I mean it," she continued. "Look at all that energy just waiting to be used. Look at all those challenges waiting to be solved. This planet is going to make us stronger than we ever imagined." Han Sol felt proud of his crew. This was why humans were different. While other species saw impossible problems, humans saw interesting puzzles. Where aliens saw certain death, humans saw an opportunity to prove what they could do. "All right, everyone," Han Sol announced. "Begin descent procedures. Let's show the galaxy what humans can accomplish." As the new horizon entered the planet's atmosphere, Han Sol thought about the message they would send to every species watching. Humans did not just survive in harsh conditions, they thrived in them. They grew stronger when things got difficult. The ship shook as they passed through the violent upper atmosphere, but Boram's design held firm. Soon they would be on the surface, beginning the work of turning this impossible world into humanity's newest home. Han Sol looked at the alien observer ships maintaining their safe distance and smiled. They were about to learn something very important about humans. There was no such thing as an impossible place to live. There were only places where no one had been brave enough to try. 6 months had passed since the new horizon landed on Kepler 442c. The alien observer ships were still there, waiting for the humans to give up and leave. They would be waiting for a very long time. Dr. Sujin walked through the underground tunnels of New Seoul, the name the colonists had given their city. The tunnels were cool and comfortable, even though the surface temperature outside was hot enough to melt metal. Her plan had worked perfectly. The extreme temperature differences between day and night were generating more power than the colony could use. Dr. Sujin called Technician Minho as she passed the power station. "The energy output is up another 15% this week. We are producing 3 times more power than we need." Sujin smiled. "Excellent. Send the extra power to Boram's expansion project. We need to dig deeper and build more living spaces." The colony had grown far beyond what anyone had expected. What started as a simple survival shelter had become a thriving underground city. The colonists had built workshops, laboratories, farms, and even recreational areas. The harsh planet above ground had become their greatest asset. Sujin made her way to the agricultural section where something amazing was happening. Security Chief Tai Ho was there, examining plants that should not exist. "Dr. Sujin, you need to see this," Tai Ho said, pointing to a row of wheat plants. "These crops are growing faster and stronger than anything we ever had on Earth." Sujin knelt down to examine the plants. They were indeed remarkable. The wheat stalks were thicker and taller than normal. The grain heads were twice the usual size and packed with nutrients. "How is this possible?" she asked. "We think it is the radiation," explained agricultural specialist Hyrin, who had been studying the phenomenon. "The planet's harsh radiation should have killed these plants. Instead, it seems to be making them stronger. We are producing food that is far more nutritious than anything grown on Earth." Sujin shook her head in amazement. Once again, what should have been a problem had become an advantage. The deadly radiation that kept other species away was helping humans grow superfood. "Have you told Captain Han Sol about this?" Sujin asked. "He is in a meeting with the council representatives," Tai Ho replied. "They arrived this morning for their inspection." Sujin felt a moment of concern. The Galactic Council had finally decided to visit the human colony. For months they had been receiving reports from their observer ships, but none of them believed what they were hearing. Now they wanted to see for themselves. She made her way to the main conference room, where Captain Hansel was meeting with the alien delegation. Through the clear wall, she could see several different species sitting around the table. Their leader was Ambassador Veltar from the aquatic Cedian race. His blue skin was kept moist by a special environmental suit, and his large eyes showed obvious confusion. Captain Hansel, Ambassador Veltar was saying, "Our instruments show that the surface temperature reached 210 degrees yesterday, yet your colonists were outside working on construction projects. This should be impossible." Hansel gestured to Engineer Boram, who activated a wall display showing the colony's design. "Ambassador, we do not fight against the planet's conditions. We use them. Our environmental suits convert the extreme heat into cooling energy. The hotter it gets outside, the more comfortable our suits become." The ambassador's confusion deepened. "But the radiation levels are being used to grow our food," Boram continued. "We have discovered that Earth plants not only survive the radiation, but become stronger and more nutritious because of it." An insectoid delegate from the Thrak Collective spoke up with a clicking sound. "This is not how colonization works. Species find worlds that match their home environment. They do not adapt to hostile conditions. Maybe that is why most species only have a few colonies," Hansel replied politely. "Humans prefer to make any world work for us." Dr. Sujin decided to join the meeting. She entered the conference room and bowed respectfully to the alien delegates. "Forgive the interruption," she said, "but I thought the ambassadors might like to see our latest agricultural results." She activated her data pad and showed them images of the enhanced crops. The aliens stared at the pictures with obvious disbelief. "These plants," said Ambassador Veltar slowly, "are growing in an environment that would kill most known plant life within hours." "Yes," Sujin confirmed, "and they are producing food that is more nutritious than anything we could grow on Earth. We are not just surviving here. We are thriving." The Cedian ambassador turned to his companions and spoke in rapid alien languages. Sujin could not understand the words, but she could hear the concern in their voices. "Captain Hansel," Ambassador Veltar said finally, "the Galactic Council needs to discuss these developments. We will be calling an emergency session." "Of course, Ambassador," Hansel replied. "We will be happy to answer any questions the Council might have." After the aliens left, Hansel gathered his senior staff in the conference room. "Well," said Boram, "I think we surprised them. They looked scared," observed Teho. "They should be," Hansel said quietly. "Not scared of us, but scared of what we represent. For thousands of years, alien species have accepted that only certain worlds could be colonized. We have just proven that theory wrong." Dr. Sujin nodded. "Every hostile world in the galaxy just became a potential human colony. That changes everything." Communications Officer Yeon-su entered the room with a worried expression. "Captain, I am monitoring increased alien military communications. Several species are discussing something they call the human problem." Hansel was not surprised. "They are realizing that humans do not follow the same rules as other species. That makes us unpredictable." "Are we in danger?" asked Boram. "Not yet," Hansel replied. "But we need to be prepared. Taiho, increase security patrols and make sure our defenses are ready. Boram, I want you to design emergency protocols for the colony." "What about expansion?" Dr. Sujin asked. "We have 3 more colony ships ready to launch from Earth." Hansel thought for a moment. "Send them to the most hostile worlds we can find. If the aliens think we are a problem now, wait until they see what we can do with a dozen impossible planets." As his staff left to carry out their orders, Hansel remained in the conference room, looking at the display showing their thriving underground city. 6 months ago, every alien in the galaxy expected the humans to fail within days. Instead, they had built something beautiful and successful in one of the most hostile places imaginable. But he knew this was just the beginning. The real test would come when other species decided whether to accept humanity as an equal or try to stop them from spreading across the galaxy. Either way, humans would be ready. The message arrived at New Sol Colony on a Tuesday morning. Colony leader Ji-Hai read it 3 times before calling an emergency meeting. The Galactic Council had made an offer that was clearly meant to be impossible to accept. They want us to colonize Zerion Prime, Ji-Hai announced to the gathered staff. Captain Hansol was attending by video link from Earth, where he was preparing the next wave of colony ships. Zerion Prime, repeated Dr. Sujin slowly. That is the planet the Council classified as completely uninhabitable. The one that orbits binary stars, added Boram, with constant earthquakes and a methane atmosphere. Ji-Hai nodded. The same one. They are calling it a test of human adaptability. They say if we can successfully colonize Zerion Prime, they will officially recognize humans as a Tier 1 species with full colonization rights. And if we fail? Asked Security Chief Tejo. They did not say directly, but the message suggested that human expansion might need to be limited for the safety of the galaxy. Captain Hansol's image on the screen leaned forward. It sounds like a trap. They are offering us a planet that will kill us, hoping to prove that humans have limits. Maybe, Ji-Hai said. But what if we succeed? The room fell silent. Everyone understood what she meant. Success on Zerion Prime would prove that humans could literally live anywhere. It would change humanity's place in the galaxy forever. I want to do it, said a new voice from the back of the room. Geologist Wanbin stepped forward. He was young and had only arrived on the last supply ship, but his reputation for finding solutions to impossible problems was already well known. Wanbin, you have studied the planetary data, Ji-Hai said. Tell us what we would be facing. Wanbin activated the wall display and showed images of Zerion Prime. The planet looked like a nightmare. Its surface was covered with active volcanoes and massive cracks from constant earthquakes. The atmosphere was thick yellow methane that would kill any oxygen-breathing creature in seconds. The planet orbits 2 stars, Wanbin explained. This means it never has a real night or day. The temperature is always changing as the stars move in their orbit. The seismic activity is constant because of gravitational forces from the binary system. It sounds horrible, said Dr. Sujin. It sounds like an opportunity, Wanbin replied with excitement. All that seismic activity means unlimited geothermal energy, more power than we could ever use, and the methane atmosphere is actually useful, if we can convert it. Atmospheric engineer Hyejin had been quiet during the discussion, but now she spoke up. Converting methane to oxygen is possible. My team has been working on atmospheric processors that could handle it. The real challenge would be creating a safe environment for the colonists. What about the earthquakes? Asked Tejo. How do we build structures that can survive constant ground movement? We do not fight the earthquakes, Boram said, her engineering mind already working on the problem. We build with them. Flexible, structures that move with the planet instead of breaking. Underground cities that use the seismic energy for power. Ji-Hai looked around the room at her team. These people had already proven they could make the impossible work. 6 months ago, aliens thought Kepler 442c would kill them in days. Now it was humanity's most successful colony. Captain Hansol, she said, addressing the screen. What does Earth Command think about this challenge? Earth Command is nervous, Hansol admitted, but they also understand what success would mean. Full colonization rights would allow us to claim any uninhabited world in the galaxy. We would never have to worry about running out of space or resources again. And the risks? If we fail publicly, other species might decide that humans are too dangerous to leave unrestricted. We could face limitations on our expansion or worse. Ji-Hai made her decision. I accept the challenge. Wanbin, Hyejin, I want you to prepare a colonization plan. We leave for Zerion Prime in 1 month. The news of humanity's acceptance spread quickly through the galaxy. Alien observers gathered around Zerion Prime in record numbers. Some came to witness what they expected to be humanity's first failure. Others came hoping to learn from whatever techniques the humans might try. The Galactic Council set up special viewing stations and broadcasting equipment. They wanted every species in the galaxy to see what happened when humans finally met a challenge they could not overcome. They are treating this like entertainment, Wanbin observed as their ship, the New Frontier, approached Zerion Prime. Through the viewports, they could see dozens of alien vessels maintaining a safe distance from the dangerous world. "Let them watch," Jihai replied. "We have work to do." The planet looked even worse up close than it had in the data files. The surface was constantly changing as earthquakes split the ground and volcanoes erupted. The yellow methane atmosphere swirled with violent storms. It was exactly the kind of place that no sane species would try to live. "Beginning atmospheric entry," announced pilot Kyung-ho. "All hands prepare for rough descent." The ship shook violently as they entered the methane atmosphere. The binary stars created strange lighting effects, making everything look alien and hostile. But the human crew remained calm and focused. "Seismic readings are off the charts," Wanbin reported with obvious excitement. "This planet has more available geothermal energy than our entire home system. We could power 1,000 colonies with what this place produces." "Atmospheric composition confirmed," added Hyejin. "Pure methane with trace gases. My processors can convert this to breathable air, but we will need to work fast to establish a safe zone." They landed on a relatively stable plateau, between two active volcano ranges. Within hours, the human colonists were outside in protective suits, beginning the work of making Zerion Prime habitable. The alien observers watched in amazement as the humans did not try to escape the dangerous conditions, but instead embraced them. Where other species saw deadly seismic activity, humans saw free energy. Where aliens saw poisonous atmosphere, humans saw raw materials for life support. "Landing successful," Jihai reported to the watching galaxy. "Zerion Prime colonization is officially underway." The message was received by billions of alien viewers across known space. For the first time in galactic history, a species had voluntarily chosen to live on a world that was supposed to be impossible to survive. The real test was just beginning. 1 year after the first humans landed on Zerion Prime, Dr. Kethra of the Thrak Collective made a discovery that would change how the galaxy viewed humanity forever. The insectoid scientist had been studying human colonies for months, trying to understand how they succeeded where every other species would fail. Dr. Kethra stood in her laboratory aboard the research vessel Mind of Thrak, surrounded by data screens showing information from all human colonies. Her forearms moved rapidly across different control panels as she compared biological readings, psychological profiles, and behavioral patterns. "Impossible," she clicked in her native language. "The data makes no sense." Her assistant, Dr. Velnach, approached with additional files. "What have you discovered, Doctor?" "Look at these stress hormone readings," Dr. Kethra said, pointing to a graph. "When most species face dangerous situations, their stress hormones increase and their performance decreases. But humans are different." The graph showed something remarkable. When humans encountered difficult conditions, their stress hormones did increase, but instead of becoming weaker, they became stronger and more focused. Their problem-solving abilities actually improved under pressure. "This cannot be correct," Dr. Velnak said. "No known species becomes more capable when facing deadly threats." "That is what I thought too," Dr. Kethra replied. "So I ran the tests again and again. The results are always the same. Humans do not just survive stress, they thrive because of it." Meanwhile, on Zerion Prime, the human colony was proving Dr. Kethra's discovery every day. What the Galactic Council had expected to be humanity's greatest failure had become their most successful settlement. Colony leader Jihai walked through the underground city of New Busan, built deep beneath Zerion Prime's unstable surface. The constant earthquakes that should have made construction impossible had instead provided unlimited geothermal power. The colony now generated more energy than Earth's entire power grid. "Ma'am," called Engineer Mincio from the power station. "We have another problem." Jihai smiled. "On Zerion Prime, problems always turned into advantages." "What kind of problem?" "We are producing too much power. The energy output is so high that our storage systems cannot handle it all. We need to find new ways to use the excess energy." "Excellent problem to have," Jihai replied. "Send the extra power to Wanbin's mining operations. If we are going to have unlimited energy, we might as well use it. Wanbin had discovered that Xerion Prime's constant seismic activity had created the largest rare metal deposits ever found. The same earthquakes that made the planet dangerous had also made it incredibly valuable. The colony was already producing enough rare metals to supply dozens of worlds. Colony leader called communications officer Sang Ho from his station. We are receiving a priority message from the Galactic Council. They want to speak with you immediately. Jihai made her way to the main communication center. The screen showed Ambassador Veltar and several other council members. Their expressions were serious and concerned. Colony leader Jihai, Ambassador Veltar began. The council has received some disturbing reports about your colony's success. Disturbing in what way, Ambassador? Jihai asked politely. Our scientists report that Xerion Prime is now producing industrial output equal to 10 normal colonies. Your population has grown to 50,000 people in just 1 year. This should be impossible on a world classified as uninhabitable. We prefer to think of it as efficient, Jihai replied. Another council member, a reptilian creature from the Saurian Empire, spoke up. The concern is not your efficiency. The concern is what your success means for galactic stability. If humans can colonize any world, including ones we thought were impossible to inhabit, then you could potentially claim every uninhabited planet in known space. Jihai understood the real issue. The other species were not worried about human success. They were worried about human expansion. Ambassador, humans have no desire to claim every world in the galaxy. We simply want the freedom to build homes wherever we choose. That freedom, said the Saurian representative, could threaten the territorial claims of established species. Some members of the council are suggesting that human expansion should be limited before it becomes a problem. The transmission ended, leaving Jihai with a clear understanding of the situation. Humanity's success was making other species nervous. The same adaptability that made humans excellent colonists also made them unpredictable neighbors. Back in the Thrak research vessel, Dr. Kethra was presenting her findings to a gathering of alien scientists from across the galaxy. The meeting had been called to discuss what they were now calling the human anomaly. In conclusion, Dr. Kethra announced, humans represent a completely new category of intelligent life. While every other known species seeks comfort and stability, humans actively pursue challenges that force them to evolve and adapt. Dr. Ziltar from the Ethereal Conclave raised a glowing tentacle. Are you suggesting that humans are more evolved than other species? Not more evolved, Dr. Kethra clarified. Differently evolved. Most species develop intelligence to avoid danger and find safe environments. Humans developed intelligence to overcome danger and make any environment safe. This pack-bonding behavior combined with their tool-making abilities makes them uniquely suited for frontier colonization, added Dr. Yenmoth from the Aquatic Alliance. They do not just adapt to new environments, they transform those environments to meet their needs. The implications were staggering. Every hostile world in the galaxy, every planet that other species had written off as uninhabitable, was potentially a future human colony. Worlds with extreme temperatures, dangerous atmospheres, high radiation, constant seismic activity, all of these could become human homes. The question, said Dr. Ziltar slowly, is whether this represents an opportunity for cooperation or a threat to galactic stability. On Earth, Commander Daejung was receiving reports from human colonies across the galaxy when the warning came through. Intelligence Officer Yujin burst into his office with urgent news. Commander, we are detecting increased military communications from several alien factions. They are discussing something called the human problem. Daejung studied the intercepted transmissions. The messages were encrypted, but the general meaning was clear. Some alien species were considering military action to prevent further human expansion. How many colonies do we have now? Daejung asked. 47 confirmed colonies, with 12 more ships currently in transit, Yujin replied. Every single one has been successful, including worlds that aliens said were impossible to inhabit. And now they want to stop us. Some of them do. The reptilian hegemony seems particularly concerned about human expansion near their territory. Dai Zheng looked at the galactic map showing human colonies spread across hostile worlds that other species avoided. Each one was thriving, growing stronger because of the challenges they faced rather than despite them. Send a message to all colony leaders, Dai Zheng ordered. Tell them to prepare for the possibility of military conflict. It seems our success has made us some enemies. As the message went out to human colonies across the galaxy, the stage was set for a confrontation that would determine humanity's future among the stars. The same traits that made humans excellent colonists, their adaptability, determination, and ability to thrive under pressure, would soon be tested in an entirely different way. The galaxy was about to learn that challenging humans was often more dangerous than ignoring them. The attack came without warning on a cold morning on Titan 7, humanity's ice world colony. Colonel Minho was reviewing daily reports when alarms began blaring throughout the underground city. His communication officer, Sergeant Eun-ji, burst into his office with urgent news. Colonel, we have multiple ships entering the system. They are not responding to our hail requests and their weapons are powered up. Minho rushed to the command center where the main screen showed a fleet of angular reptilian warships approaching. The planet. The reptilian hegemony had finally decided to test human defenses. All civilians to emergency shelters, Minho ordered. Combat teams to defensive positions. Show these reptiles what happens when they attack a human colony. The hegemony had chosen their targets carefully. They attacked 3 human colonies simultaneously, expecting easy victories against what they called primitive mammals living on worthless worlds. They had made a serious mistake. On Titan 7, the ice world that had temperatures of -200 degrees, the reptilian forces found themselves fighting in conditions their species had never experienced. Their ships, designed for warm climates, began having system failures as soon as they entered the planet's atmosphere. Colonel Minho watched from the command center as the first enemy dropships crashed into the frozen landscape. The reptilian soldiers who survived the crashes found themselves trapped in environmental suits that were not designed for extreme cold. Sir, reported Defense Coordinator So Young, the enemy forces are having equipment failures. Their weapons are freezing and their vehicles cannot operate in these temperatures. Good, Minho replied. Deploy the ice teams. Show them how we fight on Titan 7. The human defenders emerged from hidden positions throughout the frozen landscape. They moved easily across the ice using equipment specially designed for the hostile environment. Their weapons worked perfectly in the extreme cold because they had been built and tested in these exact conditions. The reptilian soldiers, struggling with failing equipment and bitter cold, found themselves facing an enemy that seemed to appear and disappear like ghosts in the ice storms. Every advantage they had expected to have was gone. Meanwhile, on the desert planet Scorched Haven, Commander Yuri was facing a different challenge. The reptilian fleet attacking her world had expected to find humans struggling to survive in the burning heat and constant sandstorms. Instead, they found a thriving colony that used the desert environment as a weapon. Commander Yuri had spent 2 years learning how to fight in sandstorms and extreme heat. Her defenders knew every dune and rock formation on the planet. Enemy forces are landing near the eastern mesa, reported Tactical Officer Jun Seo. They seem to be having trouble with the heat. Perfect, Yuri said. Wait until the next sandstorm hits, then attack. Let the desert do half our work for us. When the storm arrived, the human defenders struck. They moved through the blinding sand like it was clear air, using weapons and tactics designed specifically for desert warfare. The reptilian forces, unable to see or communicate properly in the storm, were defeated within hours. But the most important battle was happening on Xerion Prime, where the reptilian commanders had sent their largest force. They expected that attacking humanity's most famous colony would send a clear message to the galaxy. General Sunja had been preparing for this day since the first human landed on Xerion Prime. She understood that this battle would determine humanity's future among the stars. The reptilian fleet approaching her world was the largest military force humans had ever faced. General, called Communications Officer Hyunwoo, the enemy fleet is demanding our surrender. They say they will spare civilian lives if we give up immediately. Tell them General Sunja replied calmly. That humans do not surrender, especially not on our own worlds. The reptilian fleet began their attack, expecting to quickly overwhelm the human defenses. What they found instead was a colony that had turned the planet's deadly environment into the galaxy's most sophisticated defense system. The constant earthquakes that made Xerion Prime dangerous had been converted into a massive early warning network. Every seismic sensor on the planet was connected to the defense grid, allowing the humans to track enemy movements anywhere on the surface. The methane atmosphere that should have made the planet uninhabitable had become a weapon. Human engineers had learned to ignite controlled methane explosions that could destroy enemy ships without harming the underground colony. Most importantly, the extreme conditions that were supposed to weaken the human defenders had instead made them stronger and more capable than any enemy expected. Enemy ground forces are experiencing equipment failures, reported Defense Coordinator Tae-young. Their environmental suits cannot handle the methane atmosphere and seismic activity. Launch the counterattack, General Sunja ordered. Show them what humans can do when we fight on our own ground. The battle for Xerion Prime lasted 3 days. The reptilian forces, designed to fight in comfortable conditions, found themselves completely outmatched by humans who had learned to thrive in the planet's hostile environment. When the last reptilian ship retreated from human space, the news spread quickly throughout the galaxy. The species that had tried to limit human expansion through force had been decisively defeated by the same humans they thought were weak. Admiral Han Sol, now commanding the human defense fleet, received surrender requests from the remaining reptilian forces. But more importantly, he began receiving different kinds of messages from other alien species. Admiral, reported Communications Officer Yeon-su, we are receiving diplomatic requests from the Ethereal Conclave, the Crystalline Assembly, and 17 other species. They want to establish formal trade agreements with human colonies. Han Sol smiled. Nothing changed alien attitudes like a demonstration of human capabilities. The species that had once dismissed humans as primitive were now eager to work with them. The final diplomatic meeting took place in the Galactic Council chambers, where Ambassador Veltar stood before representatives of every known species. The chamber was filled with tension and excitement as the Council prepared to vote on humanity's official status. The events of recent months, Ambassador Veltar announced, have shown that humans represent a new category of intelligent life. Their ability to adapt and thrive in hostile environments is unprecedented in galactic history. The Council has reached a unanimous decision. Humanity is hereby granted full Tier 1 civilization status with unlimited colonization rights. Human colonies may be established on any uninhabited world, regardless of environmental conditions. The C announcement was broadcast across the galaxy, reaching every human colony and Earth itself. On Xerion Prime, General Sunja watched the celebration in the underground city of New Busan. On Titan 7, Colonel Min Ho raised a toast with his defenders. On Scorched Haven, Commander Yuri smiled as she watched children playing in the desert gardens. Admiral Han Sol stood in his flagship's command center, looking at a holographic map of the galaxy. Hundreds of red dots marked human colonies scattered across worlds that other species had written off as impossible to inhabit. Each one was thriving, growing stronger because of the challenges they faced. Admiral, called his aide, Earth Command is asking about expansion plans. How many new colonies should we prepare for? Han Sol looked at the vast spaces between stars, filled with worlds that other species considered too dangerous to approach. Each one represented an opportunity for humans to prove once again that there was no such thing as an impossible place to live. All of them, he said quietly. We will colonize all of them. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. When humans took the stars, no challenge was too great to survive. And now, with unlimited colonization rights and the respect of every known species, humanity's greatest adventures were just beginning.